3, 2. Milton, what is going on, man?
Hey Shane, good to see you.
Yeah, same here. Now, before we get started, I apparently, I mentioned to you, I have no idea how many people are going to actually watch this thing, right? We'll see how we do. We already had, fans. We already got people commenting. X2 brothers, which also happen to be my sons.
Oh,
So I don't know if it means that that's all we're going to have here, but I got to give a shout out to them.
that's okay. That's okay. They're going to walk away with some knowledge, man. That's all
right?
right.
I mean, nothing like giving a 10 and 12-year-old some renovation lending knowledge. It's just what they need. So
Very good.
it's the homeschool thing. They're on the computer and YouTube and everything else. But thanks for seriously for doing this. For everyone who is tuning in, Milton to my right, I think, is on the screen. I've had a chance to work with him now for 4 or 5 years. He runs our national renovation platform. And for those of you in that space, you probably know we are one of the best, if not largest, renovation lenders in the country. And a lot of it has to do with the strategy, the knowledge, and just passion around renovation lending that Milton has. And so we're lucky to have him here. And Milton is going to be joining me probably once every, say, 2 months, with the idea of we're going to do this kind of live stream where we're going to share tactics and strategies and philosophies in renovation lending that you can use wherever you work. This is not a Loan Depot commercial. This is a value added that Milton wanted to do to the renovation lending and really just overall mortgage lending community to really try to raise everyone's game. So Milton, again, I appreciate that. But do you mind giving a little background, for those of the people that happen to watch this that don't know who you are?
Well, and thank you for having me, Shane. I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah.
Everybody, Milton Manolis, National Renovation Manager, Loan Depot. Background, I've been in the business over 20 years. I'll just go, once you break 20 years,
you can't say 30 years, 40 years,
No. Right, so just over 20 years we'll go with that. So born and raised in Chicago. Right now we live in the southwest suburbs outside of Chicago. So been with Loan Depot since 2015, and very thankful and very fortunate. So
now, born and raised in Chicago, does that make you a Bear fan?
It does by default, but we're more of a Blackhawks family, a hockey family.
Okay, yeah.
And but we love all Chicago's. I mean, all Chicago teams. If you had to pick a baseball team in this house, it'd be the Cubbies, right?
All right. But X2 brothers, they're Cub fans too, So, well, I asked about the Bears because I'm a Browns fan. Exactly. That is legitimately the response I get every time I mention it. But the Browns, 4-1. Can I get this on the screen right? 4-1.
There you go.
The Bears, 4-1. Have there ever been in the history of football 2 worse 4-1 teams ever?
No, there is not. No.
Just awful. 4-1 means you're in the playoffs. I have no confidence that either team makes the playoffs. It's just awful. So
I agree with you there, brother.
So since I've known you, you have been a renovation expert, and the thing I really love about what you do is you're passionate about the program. You educate not necessarily for personal gain, but really to make sure that this product serves as many families as it possibly can. I mean, you're doing education seminars for realtors and for originators. I've seen you talk to people that don't work here. Why? How did you get into it? Why renovation?
So I got into it probably right around 2004, 2005, really, somewhere around there. And the reason I did is I needed something different. I needed a unique selling proposition. I needed to separate myself because in the marketplace here, it was very competitive. And, everybody was talking about the same thing. And so I realized that I had to bring some value to the relationship to my referral sources. So I started learning about renovation loans and, what can they do? Are they valuable? Do they work really? Yeah. And so I spent some time learning. And as I learned, as I came to find out, they're not just valuable to a relationship and to a customer, but it really separates you from your competitors. And once you understand how to leverage it and how to discuss it and how to teach people, it separates you, and you won't be caught. I mean, it's most mortgages, Shane, I tell you, you're in the middle, right? You have the buyer, you have the seller, you're doing a loan, and you're closing the transaction, and you're bringing those parties together and making it happen. But what I learned is that a renovation loan actually helps you create transactions. It helps you do business, right? More business, and capture and create market share where otherwise there might not be a transaction. And I hope we get into that a little bit as well.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And we'll jump into, because again, for those of you who do tune into this, the idea is going to be, we're going to give you actionable tactics and strategies. Again, you can use it at any company. This is not a come to Loan Depot thing.
Right.
But before we jump into that, where do you see renovation as a product? Because obviously this year has been different, for the industry in terms of product. Product comes, goes, right? Even renovation is what's available has shrunk a little bit. Where do you see renovation fits in as a program for the market today? And, we'll say, hell, if you can predict 3 weeks in advance, congratulations. But, the first quarter or two of 2021.
Yeah. And, let me take you back a little bit to answer that. Let's go back to the financial crisis, right?
No more than 20 years, though, because you've only been in the business.
This is 12. This is 12, right? 10 to 12 years, right? So we go back a little bit to the financial crisis. Those that have been in the business, saw what had happened. But really, renovation loans became very prevalent at that time. And but what we'd seen happen with customers is a lot of people, that came out of that crisis started to stash their money, right? Cash was king. And they weren't really putting money into their homes. And now you fast forward 7, 8, 10 years, and now those same homes, siding is falling, the windows are breaking, and needs a roof. And so, there's been a lot of deferred maintenance. And this is why you're seeing these home improvement stores breaking record numbers in sales. And it's really because of all the homes that need modernizing and updating, because the crisis really wasn't that long ago, really. And now we're in the midst of another one, right, with this pandemic. And so now you have families that shift a little bit, and you got to be aware of the trends around you. And so what we're seeing families coming together, and we're seeing children moving back in with their parents, and we're seeing parents move in with their children. And so we're seeing a trend now develop where people are looking to do a renovation refinance because they need to add some square footage. You add to that the housing shortage, right? And how much harder it is to find homes.
The cost of lumber.
Right, exactly. Materials are going up significantly. The value of homes are rising. And so these people have the opportunity to tap into that equity and make that home right for them and be able to take care of any deferred maintenance. So, we tell people, take a step back, understand what's going on, understand, the mindset of your customer, right? What they're thinking, what they're dealing with and experiencing. And then you step in and you have to know your customer in order to help your customer, really. And those trends help you identify that. And then really that's what we're seeing. Now, moving forward, I'll share a couple of trends that I see evolving now. We're starting to see age accessible housing is what we're calling it, really. And what you're doing there, you're going to come to a position now where you're going to have senior citizens who don't want to move out of their home. They've been there. They don't want to go into a retirement home or a retirement community, but they really don't like going up and down those stairs every day. And they sure as heck don't want to sit in a chair and have a chair lift them up to go to their bedroom. So you're going to see a trend evolving where they want to age in place, and they're going to want to build out maybe a master bedroom, master bathroom on the first floor. Right? They don't want to move out of their house. They want to stay where they are. That's what they're accustomed to. That's where they've been for the last 30 years. But they need to make some changes to make it right for them and to make it safe. And so that's a trend that I really think you're going to see a big uptick in that over the next 2 to 3 years. That's just one of them.
Do you have to be older? Can I do that? I mean, this COVID thing, I'm not quite as in shape as I was. So it's
listen, as a Browns fan, you deserve to sit in that chair.
Oh my gosh! Thank you for pulling that back in. I'll cry when we're done here.
Okay.
And what's interesting is already I just wrote down, for something for us to consider next time we're together is how to identify which neighborhoods are renovation markets. Yes. I mean, I'm assuming there's a whole science to it. So that'll be a good future topic. I like that came out. But what we want to talk about on this one is how you can use rent. Let's just start at the basics. How, if you are capable of offering renovation as a product in your arsenal, whether it's a skill that you have or a product offering that your company has given you, how that can be used in your prospecting, how you can use renovation to capture more relationships and more volume. And we're going to go target by target, so to speak. So we're going to talk about clients and how to capture more of them, move on to different referral partners like financial advisors and realtors. So let's start with clients. Right. So you've done mortgages with these clients, and what you kind of described, Milton, is you might have been the person that put them into a home in 2012.
That's right.
Right. And staying in touch with them. And so can you talk about how you leverage renovation to market your past clients, how you kind of weave it into the marketing that you do, and how it helps you capture more of that business and retain those clients?
Well, and the key word that you say there, Shane, is retain. Because the way rates are now and the refi boom that's occurring, everybody's going after your customers. Doesn't matter how much you database them, everybody's going after the same customers. So you need to have a unique value proposition when you're speaking to your customer. Doesn't matter how many times you refi them, guys. Really, you have to approach it. And as we said just a few minutes ago, get to know your customer, understanding the dynamics, where we've come from, where we are now, and how things are evolving, and understanding the housing shortage and what's its impact on values. As you're talking to these customers about a refinance, you should ask them, hey, how is your family growing? How are you with the home? Is it something that you've outgrown? Does the home need any work? And I'm not, let me preface all this, Shane, by telling everybody that it's not about doing a renovation loan. It's about leveraging and using the renovation loan, right? I can't fix anything in my house. I don't know how to do anything, but I do know the value that loan brings to people and the impact it has on their lives and on their communities. And so, once you grasp that, it makes a big impact. So when I'm talking to past customers, you should find out about the situation of their home. Is there anything that they'd like to do to their home? The answer might be no, but you're having a conversation that no one else is with that customer, right? And they're being bombarded with rates and commercials and everything online, and they're probably getting mailers still, right? And so you want to have a different conversation. And you may come across somebody who says, yeah, we just had twins, or we just had a kid, and we need to grow. So when it comes to past customers, go a little deeper into the conversation, knowing that if they've been there for a while, chances are that home does have deferred maintenance that it needs. You may have some customers that are asking you, maybe I want to just do a cash out or maybe a line of credit. Dig a little deeper. But
fascinating.
The easiest thing right now, guys, is just having that conversation, asking a couple of questions and letting them know it's available, and you can help them refinance and do those upgrades or updates or expansions.
So that gives me two angles I want to ask you about then specifically to get real tactic. You're talking about talking. Okay, so that's picking up the phone and calling or text messaging even, right? Maybe. Right. And then there's marketing. So let's stay on the talking for a second. The thing I love about you, Milton, is I've dealt with people that serve a particular segment of the market, and all they think about is that segment of the market, right? So I'm a reno guy. Reno is all that matters. And you've always tied it to the overall business. Like, hey guys, even just asking the questions maybe gets you in the door, but then you're maybe going to do a regular mortgage.
That's right.
Like it doesn't matter. So, but where does this weave into, like, if I've got my past clients and part of what I do is I pick up the phone and call them, right? A lot of originators will do an annual mortgage check, right? Hey, what's going on with your mortgage? You just wove in, they've been in a house for a while, or they're in an aged house. At what frequency to do both non-reno and reno, right? Because you don't want to just talk about reno.
No, right.
How often do you call these clients to talk about renovation, like a renovation checkup? Is it every single year? Is it really, Shane? Statistically, we're not going to get any renovation mortgages out of people that have been in the house for less than 2 years. Is it based on the age of the house? You know what I mean? Like, how, if I wanted to build a business plan where I'm going to reach out to my clients over the phone to talk about renovation, how do I weave that in? When do I make those calls?
Well,
and at what frequency?
Yeah. So if they've been in the home for a while, or if they just purchased a year ago, right? Because the average, I think now it's about 24,000 is the amount of money a homeowner puts into a house after a purchase. Now, of
Okay.
course, I've conditioned myself to ask that question up front, right, when we're doing the purchase loan. Okay. But to your point, at any point I talk to the customer, I always ask them about it. Is there anything your house needs?
Okay.
You'd be surprised what they say. And they could say, no, everything's great. Or they could say, I need a furnace. Not that you're going to do a renovation just for a furnace, but you're having a conversation, and at the very least, you can talk about something other than what everyone else is talking to them about. So to answer your point, I always talk about it. That doesn't mean it's the main topic, because it rarely is the main topic. It's up to them. If they make it the main topic, then we go, right? But all I'm doing is letting them know that there are options. And
that's great.
Even if it's not an option today, it could be an option in the future.
Yeah.
Or if you know someone that finds a home or is interested in purchasing a home or refinancing and their home needs a little work, let me help them.
So in other words, we don't need to design a specific renovation check-in. As long as you have part of your business plan that you're picking up the phone and speaking to your consumers, it's more training yourself as, while I'm on the phone with them, talk to me about, if you have any work in the house that needs to be done, any renovations that need to be done, yada, yada, yada. No, and that's the thing I like about that also is I want the consumer thinking about me as much as humanly possible.
That's right.
And consumers don't always, and clients don't always equate a mortgage professional that got them into the home, with a regular standard 30-year fixed as a renovation person. And so now you can begin to put that thought in their head. And so in between refinance cycles or in between purchase cycles, they're still thinking of you, right? And being that client for life. Now, do you also ask for referrals, right?
Oh.
Because I'm thinking of, hey, look, and by the way, when I say renovation, of course, I want to help you. But in the HGTV era, everyone, is thinking about renovations. Do you have any friends that you've heard lately, that are thinking about this? Do you ask that question as well?
Oh, every single time.
Okay.
You always ask for the referral, but don't ever make it about you. And that's something I'd like to talk more about as we progress. But don't make it about you. Make it about them, right? Do you know anybody that needs help? Do you know anybody that's looking to purchase? If you know somebody that's looking, they want to, maybe we evaluate if they can save some money, or if they wanted to do some work to their house, now's a great time to look into that. If you do, just have them reach out to me. Keep it very simple, but don't make it about yourself when you're asking for a referral.
Love it. Love it. Now let's talk about the marketing side, and then we'll pidot over to the referral partners.
Sure.
If you're developing, and there's a lot of marketing we can do. I mean, like almost over the top, and so we don't need to explore every angle, but let's just go with one of the old school tactics that almost every originator uses. Drip campaigns, like the constant communication, right? I'm going to send my borrower something once a month or once a quarter, whatever your time period is. And if you were not a renovation specialist, but you were somebody who wanted to be the full gamut, and I want this borrower to think of me for everything. In that sequence, let's say you're doing it every 2-month drip or whatever it is, where do you put renovation into it? Do you say, Shane, once a year, remind them through your marketing collateral on top of asking them every time you talk to them? Like, where do you slide that into your marketing behaviors and strategies?
I would say a minimum of once, potentially twice, and you should do it in the spring and going into the holidays. And when I say going into the holidays, maybe, end of summer, August-ish. Okay. Because as people roll in, as the holidays get closer, you see an uptick in people inquiring about renovations. They want to host the holidays. They want to get a new kitchen. They want new flooring. And then they want to invite everybody over so that they could show it off. I mean, it's human nature.
Oh, that's
right?
smart. Yeah.
Yeah. As you're coming out of winter, as you're going into spring, obviously depend geographically, that's when the exterior becomes a good play, right? Because when they're outside and they see that, maybe they need some tuck pointing, a roof, some siding, windows need to be replaced or whatnot. So, you could if you want to get a little granular, you can focus on the exterior going into the warmer months. But at the end of summer, you go right into what the interior of your house can look like.
Smart. And when you get a change of seasons, you're going into the summer. I need air conditioning. Blah blah blah. Going into the winter, like you said, a heater, furnace. Oh, that's okay. No, that's great. I like it.
Yeah. Let me share one more thing on marketing real quick. Shane.
Yeah.
So I tell every customer, every lead, not just, I mean, everybody, text me. I just find that people are more, they enjoy the text versus emails versus even calling, right? So when I'm talking to a customer that say we've closed, I let them know anything you need, send me a text message. You can ask me a question anytime.
Yeah.
And if there's anything the house needs or whatever it is, you
Yeah.
can always reach out to me and they'll do it. I mean, they'll
Yeah.
send you a text message, but more importantly, they're going to keep your name and number in their phone. So when you call them and they look at their phone, they see Milton or they see Shane, right? And it doesn't matter if they're a lead that maybe goes away and not going to buy for maybe 6 months or so. You want to be in their phone, and you want to keep them in yours. And texting is a great way to do it.
Do you also, just a random thought, if I'm doing renovation and I'm being involved with this, I'm going to develop a roster of contractors, plumbers, electricians. Do you proactively, when you, at the time of the close of the mortgage that you do, say, hey, look, text me for anything. By the way, here's a list of my preferred electricians, my preferred plumbers, what have you. Keep this list. And if anything happens with the house that even you don't need a renovation loan, I would just recommend these people because they're good at what they do. And then that does two things. One, the referral partners that are on there, right, their electricians, everything else, if they get dealing with a deal, with somebody who's maybe preemptively thinking about updating their house, maybe now that's a referral source for you. But at the same time, I hate to say, you got kind of spies out there. Hey, Milton, I just got a call from Joe Blow, and they said that you recommended me. You might want to call them to see if there's a renovation need. Do you do that in the early stages, or putting your name on an electrician and a plumber risky in case they don't execute the way that you want?
And that's it right there, Shane. Yeah, it's a good question. A lot of people ask it, but yeah, we don't. I do not, and I don't advise recommending contractors. The crazy thing is contractors are a great source of referrals, especially now because they're all so busy. The biggest problem that contractors are having is not getting the job. It's actually, keeping up with the jobs. And so if we can follow up with that on another call, but we have some pretty cool tactics when it comes to developing a relationship with a contractor that actually needs our help. So.
Awesome. I love that. Look, we've just given ourselves the next 2 live streams. I like it.
Yeah.
Contractor relationships. So I do want to shift into, referral partners. And we'll start with kind of one that people maybe don't think about when they're dealing with renovation, is financial advisors. And can you talk about, if you, again, were an originator looking to leverage your renovation offering to capture more relationships, how does this play with financial advisors? In really just kind of any financial consultant. Does it have a play there?
A huge play. It's actually a natural fit. It would be as valuable as a realtor, really. If you think about it, customers, when it comes to really doing anything, but to fixing up their house or purchasing a house, they talk to their advisor. Okay. And there's really only 3 places customers get money from to do any work or to purchase. And it's either going to come from their savings or their investments. It's going to come in the form of credit cards. Or maybe tap into their retirement funds. I mean, really, there's only a limited number of places you're going to be able to raise the capital, right? Yeah. And so the biggest fear any financial advisor has is not having control of their customer. And I use the word control loosely. In other words, they want to be able to surround their customer with every possible need that customer has. Yeah. And the biggest investment, quite often, is their home. So the financial advisor would love to be able to work with somebody who can not only refinance them and show them how a renovation works so that they don't pull it out of their investments, right? But also on transactions. They want to them, or purchases to them, it's a value that they're bringing to their customers. Of course, it's great for us to work with financial advisors, but it's great for them too, because now they're working with somebody who they trust, and they can take credit for having brought you into the picture and have provided that value. So now when a customer wants to put on an addition, let's say to our earlier point of maybe somebody's getting near retirement, they want to stay in their home, but they want to put in a master bedroom and bath on the first floor. Well, they're either going to liquidate some of their investments, or you can go step in and show them how they can tap into the equity, do a renovation refinance, and let those investments keep working. What do you think the financial advisor is going to want to do? You see what I mean? They may need some tax deductions, and they're able to have conversations with their customers that set them apart from other financial advisors.
There's a Volkswagen commercial going on right now with Paul Giamatti, amazing actor, by the way, amazing actor. And he's a celebrity CPA, and he freaks out every time. Like he'll have a star by a tiger, and they send a picture and say, "Is this tax deductible?" You know, and he's freaking out. But it makes me think of this because, as a financial advisor, I don't want my client to drop 100 G's on a kitchen.
That's right.
When they could have maybe gotten a much lower rate loan, allow us to have more cash flexibility to invest and have security.
That's right.
And so really it's in a sense educating them to know, hey, yeah, if you're thinking about it, come to me and we can decide, do you get a renovation loan or not? So with that then, do you go as far as, hey, financial advisor, let's do education seminars once a year, just on renovation lending, and pull in your clients, and we'll teach them what's available, what's not, what the current market is? Like, do you go that far?
You know, you could, and I would advise it, because a lot of financial advisors now, financial planners, they leverage their database to put together prospective clients, and you could be a part of that, right? And you could just let them know that you're willing to. Obviously, they're heavily regulated as we are, so they're going to want to see any presentation materials would have to be approved and exactly what you're going to say. But once you work through that with them, and you're sitting in front of a room of 40, 50 people that they put together, and now you're able to talk about things that, and it may not just be renovation. I mean, you can talk about reverse mortgages, right? You can talk about energy efficient improvements that they may want to do. So there's again, guys, that's kind of the thing, Shane. It's not just about originating a renovation loan, right? So it's about using it, and then you grow your overall business because of that value. So I would absolutely go down that route, and it's an easy conversation, and there's value to the financial planner.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. And so now we do have a few people watching. So if anybody has any questions, feel free, because we can always pivot and ask Milton questions. As you can tell, he's basically got complete command of this. But let's move into the real estate community, and we'll bucket into three different buckets. Kind of realtors that maybe you just did a transaction with, maybe on the listing side, agents that you do business with, but maybe we want to capture more of their business, and then prospecting. But let's start with kind of closed transactions. We hear the call your listing agent, see how it went, and try to establish a relationship. And it's not an action that happens all that often. And I think sometimes it's because people don't actually know what to say when they're calling that listing agent. How do you leverage renovation in that circumstance, and following up with maybe real estate agents you just did a transaction with, but maybe don't have a long history with, like a listing agent? Yeah.
So this is where the gold is, right? Everything to this point, is where it's most impactful. Everybody says the same thing, and a lot of people will call the listing agent after a transaction, and they'll, talk about themselves, talk about their company, and that is meaningless, truthfully, right? Yeah. Closing on time, you're supposed to close on time. Having a decent interest rate, you're supposed to have a good interest rate. Those are the norms, right? What you need to do is call the listing agent and have a conversation about them, okay? So you're going to call the listing agent, and it could be, let's just for the sake of this conversation, assume that you closed a renovation loan, a purchase, right? So you're going to call that listing agent now, and you're going to ask them, are you having any pain points with any other properties, right? You see what we've been able to do here. Do you have any listings that you're afraid might not pass inspection? I want to be able to help you, and I can walk you through how that works. Have you had any transactions? This is probably one of the best ones you could use. Have you had any transactions where you had an issue with the home inspection? Okay. And so now you're telling them something that no one else is telling them, guys. You're telling them something they haven't heard before. Okay. And you're triggering it in their head, and you'll be surprised at how many will say, I wish I knew this a month ago, or I just had an appraisal come back sour, or I just had a home inspection, or I have another listing, but it's not going to go FHA. right? And so, don't talk about anything that everyone else is talking about. Focus in, zero in on them, and you immediately call that listing agent. As a matter of fact, that listing agent should know you're calling because you should call them during the transaction. Okay. And you should be able to deliver the bad news with the good news, right? When we get problems on appraisal, or when I get something comes up on a home inspection, a lot of people get upset about that, right? A lot of loan officers, consultants are like, oh no. I'm like, that's awesome. So now I'm going to call everybody up. I'm going to say, yeah, we got a problem, but don't worry, I got the solution. Here's how it's going to go. Okay. You have to take advantage of those scenarios. So as soon as the loan closes, you call that listing agent and you take that approach with them directly. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, realtors want to work with originators, the originator that they trust on as many deals as they can. It's a control thing. It's a confidence thing. They know the deal is going to get done. They also want to work with people that are going to help make deals happen.
That's right.
Right. And you're solving a problem that a realtor that does get engaged in listings has, because at some point, if you're a listing agent, you're going to have a house that you're listing that has got either a hidden hot mess or an obvious hot mess. And there's going to have to be a way to finance fixing it. And it's not always going to be the seller putting cash out. Sometimes it's going to be getting this, knowing that they can get that money back.
That's right.
I like that. Yeah,
Certainly
like that.
not in this market. These sellers aren't going to do that work, right? And there's a lot of homes that need that work. And so that's a great phone call. And like I said, Shane, you're not talking about what everyone else is talking about. You're telling them something different.
Love it. Now, what about realtors that you're presently doing business with? So you've had a chance to work with them. You've closed a couple deals with them. They send you a lead every couple months, but they're doing more. Mm-hmm. Right? They're working with other originators in the market. How do you leverage Renovation to become their core partner? To become the person they're sending the majority of their business to.
So it's similar. A similar approach to the listing agent, right? The listing agent, you now have something warm when you're calling on that transaction that just occurred. But if you know you have an agent that's doing more, you have to now, here again, call them, reach out to them, talk with them, not about you, not about loans like you may have done in the past and how great our service is. You really want to talk to them about what their needs are and say, I want to be able to go a little deeper. There's some opportunity out there. I'm going to share one script with you, Shane, that I've used. It amazes me how many loan officers and mortgage consultants do not ask realtors about their own investments, right? There's so many agents out there that invest in real estate. So you want to bring that unique value proposition, talk to that agent and ask them what they're doing for themselves. And there's something I can do to help you as you grow or build your real estate portfolio, because we can do a renovation for an investment property. Right.
Such a good one, because they're the ones who really know if a home is undervalued.
That's right.
They're the ones who are in a lot of cases aware of these pocket listings, and you invest in what you know, right? And so if they're going to invest in that, and then you can align yourself as their core partner on their own transactions, where do you think they're going to refer their clients to?
That's right. And the comments or the questions about, have you had any issues with appraisals or with home inspections or violations on title or things of that nature, that'll evolve off of that conversation. Okay. But
I love it.
You just can't go into a transaction making it about you, or into a relationship making it about you. You really have to make it about them, and as it should be.
Now, I promised that this call this live stream wouldn't go this long, but we're doing well. This is fun. We're going deeper. So I'm going to go one more, and then I'll let you get, man. I know you got a lot going on.
No worries.
Talk about. I've never met with this realtor before. Yeah. I've never even spoken to this realtor before. I guess there's two stages in this, right? The introduction call, as well as maybe the first meeting. But you've never worked with this realtor before. I'm assuming it's a lot of similarities in the other angles, but you don't have as long to talk to them, right? If it's a listing agent, you've got the trust built up, so they'll give you a sit down. If it's an agent you've done a lot of business with, or some business with, a non-core one, they'll still listen to you and talk to you. This is cold call. How do you? What quickly do you get out of your mouth to sound different. Like that's one of your key things. Leveraging renovation to try and get them to open up a little bit to say, yeah, let's talk a little bit further and get to know one another to see if there's value here. How are you leveraging this in your prospecting?
Yeah. So when I first learned, Shane, the value and how these loans would impact my business and how I could use them, the first thing I did is started checking online at listings. Okay, you're going back a little ways. Mm-hmm. So what I would tell everybody: jump online, go to realtor.com, go to whatever website you want to go, and start searching for that ugly house or if you have access, that expired listing. Okay. Look for the house that's the just biggest piece of crud you can find. Okay?
nice word. I like that. Crud.
Yeah. And then and you call that agent. That's where you start. And that's how I did it.
Love it.
And one of the agents that we were able to develop a relationship with ended up being one of the #1 HUD REO agents in Chicago. And really they renewed their contract just recently. Right.
Really
so
smart.
So you want to make a cold call, identify that property that they may need help with. It's no longer a cold call. Now it's a warm call.
Love that.
Because you're not calling about you. You're not even calling about them. You're calling about the property. And so now the conversation shifts. You know, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor, I see that you have this home. It's listed, you know, on Main Street there or could be expired and it doesn't look like it's financeable. I want to help you sell this thing. I want to share some things that I've been able to do successfully in your market that I think we can work on this and make this happen together.
Really smart.
What do you think they're going to say? I mean, their reply is going to be how, right? And the same thing with expired listing, guys. Imagine calling an agent who had a listing expire and now presenting them with an idea to make that home ready for renovation and relisting it. And now being able to call. And that takes me back to the beginning where I'm telling you that renovation loans, they create market share.
Yeah, that is really, really smart. I mean, it's relationship development with purpose, right? If you coming in blind, I have no idea what this person is interested in, intrigued with, yada, yada, man, you better be darn good to open up that person. But in this case, you know the struggle they've had. You're looking at the data. And so you're using that as an opener to begin the conversation and really create your target list.
That's right.
Yeah, that's good. That's really smart. I like that. Well done, man. All right. So obviously we could have kept going, but yeah, we're 40 minutes in. We've got some people still watching, which blows me away. That's how good you are. But anything else that I missed on? Anything in the prospecting universe? Because the next time we do this, we're obviously going to cover a different topic, or we'll call this good. Up to you.
No, I think we're good, man. I look forward to doing this again. And listen, I'm open, Shane, to I'll give advice to anybody. I'll help anybody. Not, it doesn't matter. You could be at a competitor. There's plenty of transactions and money out there for everybody to be successful. And I love helping people. So, and this product is very special. So I'm available anytime. Thank you.
You rock, dude. Thank you so much for everything that you do for us, for the industry. And we'll talk soon. Take care. Thanks everybody for watching.
Bye-bye.